Hey guys, Claquesous here with a Gods of Olympus replay video. Today my victim, if you will, is a Turkish player named Xman. And as I always do, I'm going to start off by going through the gods. But the first thing you'll notice is, wait a minute, there's only 5 of them. Did I really win with just 5 gods? Well, I guess that's the first hint. But I wanted to talk today a little bit about Hermes. And oh, by the way, I just need to apologize for Claquesous hacking my account again. That guy's a real jerk, man. I don't know why he does that, and he's so nasty to me too. But anyway, so Hermes is the newest god, and I've noticed a lot of people who are using him in a way that I feel is not really very optimal. So I wanted to provide an example video of where I'm using Hermes, I think, and capitalizing on his new regroup ability. So going through my gods, you can see, for my level 114, they're not really that high level at 305, 311, other than Hera, who's up at 332. But the others are all in the 305 to 311 range. So let me hop in, and I think the first obvious thing, as you look around this base, you see it's a Poseidon base, but I'm going to start by dropping. Wait a minute, these gods didn't show up. What's that about? Well, this is kind of a standard burst start with Inspiration, Bloodlust, and Slow Time, and Water Blast, and Haste. Using those, popping those abilities off as quickly as I can. Using Whirlwind mainly because of its damage reduction, which allows Ares to kind of hang around for a while, whereas otherwise he dies off a little bit quickly. But you can see that this is all about trying to do as much damage in this first wave. But of course, with Hermes, even got a dash off there. In the first wave, you don't have to allow everyone to die like you used to. You can regroup before they die immediately. And now this is where Kraken, I'll let him kind of do his thing, then I'll pause for a second. This is where I think a lot of people mess up. What I see very commonly is someone will drop down Zeus over here, and they'll do some lightning blast, and they'll chip away at Zeus temple, or maybe they'll come down here and start beating up on Athena temple, but they kind of drop the gods one by one, the same of the first 5 gods, and they're just kind of lambs for the slaughter. They die really quickly. So what I think you should do is the same thing you did after your first wave before Hermes came around, and just start off with your second wave here. So after regroup, you can reorganize your gods. So for me, second wave typically starts with Hera and Hades Temple, to get off the super reanimate. And so bam, she's there, drop Hades, reanimate, and then start dropping the others. Make sure to drop Artemis for Hawkstorm to clear off the big crowds, and then start moving up with Hera as your tank and begin your slow push. Drop Hades to be kind of a, sorry, not Hades, Cerberus, to kind of help with the push forward. And so now I'm basically slow pushing, and it's the original 5 gods, and because of regroup, the first 5 gods are still available. Hades almost died there, so I had to use heal a little bit early because I didn't want to lose reanimate. And here you see I'm starting to get some assistance against me, so I pulled Artemis in so she wasn't on the back line. I'm using Apollo to kind of clear out troops a little bit, and somehow, remarkably, Artemis is not dying. Not sure exactly how I pulled that off with very low health for quite a while. You see they're even zapping to try to kill her off, but unsuccessfully. And so we go and see it's actually pretty easy. Artemis did a lot of damage. Hera, between her wrath and just being out there on the field for a while, does a lot of damage. The slow pushers, Aphrodite and Hades, just summoning a lot of troops, does damage. Poseidon does a lot of damage. Ares does a good amount of damage, also soaks up a little bit of damage with his whirlwind. Apollo, kind of the crowd control in the slow push, so does a decent amount of damage. And then of course Zeus is a little bit mediocre. Hermes is more of a support god, and Athena is the tank, so they don't do as much damage. Although Hermes 167, that's not too bad. And as you can see though, I didn't lose a single god. If I did, this would be paying out in the high 30s and 40,000. So assists from Hunter and The Witcher. But because I did not lose a single god in the first round, all of these, the 5 of the first rounders are all on my bench. And what I can do is, what I typically do is I leave Athena in the first position, so if Hera dies, then I've got a backup tank. So I drop Athena down. Typically, if that happens, I have a little bit of a slow push built up, so I can drop her behind the troops and allow Aegis to recharge and then hop her up. But Poseidon and Zeus, like, you don't really want to just drop them back down if their abilities aren't ready. I mean, Poseidon, if his abilities are ready, you can drop him right next to a temple and tidal wave it away. But if his ability isn't ready and you drop him near that Zeus temple that was there, he's just going to get killed really quickly. So it's not really very useful. So after regroup, actually reorganize your gods, drop your second wave, go through with that until someone dies, and then either allow them to die and kind of drop your gods one at a time at that point after their second wave has killed off most everything. Or better yet, what I find is drop them in one by one as your gods die in that second wave. So anyway, just figured I would share that because I think a lot of the top players I've seen have kind of been just sacrificing their gods at the after regroup, and I think you should do your second wave and use the first wave as bench players. So anyway, hope you enjoy that and hope to see some better skills, if you will, and thanks for watching.